go.
My recommendation? Don't fucking buy this
Man,
bullshit.
you'll never let me drive
Just
anymore.
sprinkle some
Just
blow
'cause that
on
one
whatever regular
time.
whitening anti-plaque toothpaste you already use. Now, back to más music. Bounce.
Ready? Open fire.
Roger.
Engaging hostiles.
The lieutenant's on the run. Hey, leave him alone already. Clear over here.
Fucking hell.
Transmitiendo desde Bolivia.
Esto es Radio Santa Blanca.
This morning, a good brother died. He was a good friend of mine. All he was trying to do was feed his family, and these putos killed him. For what? He never did nothing to you. My dude had 3 kids and a 4th on the way. She's gonna be a girl, and her name's Paula. I hope you remember that name. I hope it haunts your dreams. I hope you choke on it and die. Váyanse a chingar a la puta verga.
Rolas, remixes, tránsitos, varo, buscas, escuadras, plomos, drogas, pases, gallos, putazos. Y aquí, cabrones, los más chingones.
Esto es Radio Santa Blanca.
¡Fiesta! ¡Fiesta! Baile, tequila y las mujeres más bellas en la gran presentación de Su Majestad, el Rey del Taconazo, El Chido. Espéralo pronto en tu ciudad. ¿Cómo se llama?
¡El Chido!
¿Y quién es?
¡El mejor espectáculo de banda del mundo!
¿Y cuándo estará contigo?
Ya va pa' Bolivia y no te lo puedes perder.
Hola, hermanos. Mi nombre es Rodolfo el Jejo. Many of you know me, and I am proud to call many of you mis amigos. Some of you close to me have told me of concerns about the cartel. Concerns that I know you all share. I respect the Earth Mother Nuestra Pachamama as much as the rest of you. I have my entire life. I have taught this respect for Pachamama to my children, and I will teach it to their children. Pachamama must keep in balance and harmony with the cosmos. And that is why I am happy that our country is working with Santa Blanca. This is not the same secular industrialization that the gringos and their CIA have tried to force upon us. This Mexican organization, this Latin organization believes, as I do, that human beings are caretakers of our earth, guardians of the land. And they believe that with proper management, we can find a way to benefit both man and La Madre Tierra. Santa Blanca is Bolivia's partner in caring for our Earth. This is for the future of Bolivia, compañeros. This is the legacy that we leave the generations to come.
So how brutal is Yuri and Polito's torture anyway?
I sure as hell don't want to find out.
But I mean, obviously it's nothing as softball as waterboarding, right? I mean, we're talking permanent damage and death here.
They're also medically trained, so you have to figure there are some pharmaceuticals at work to keep their victims awake.
But see, back in the day, the real torturers didn't need drugs to keep their victims awake.
So they're amateurs.
That's obvious from how few people survive their interrogations. A real torturer, a professional. He or she is in control. He or she understands what's needed. Yuri and Polito are sloppy. They get carried away. They do it for the fun of it, not because it's a job and not for the art. So yes, they're brutal, but not because they try to be. They're brutal because they're incompetent.
You got a dark side hidden under that smile, don't you?
Esto es Santa Blanca Radio.
The Santa Blanca cartel is making large strides in purging the country of your rebel menace. But we can't do it alone. Este insulso de Pacatari and his rebels, autodefensas, talk of raising you out of poverty, of putting control of the country's destiny in the hands of the farmer. But Pacatari lies. Men like him make their promises, give you hope, but all they want is power, control. We have seen it before, all across the continent. But Santa Blanca has put your destiny as an individual back in your own hands. This is the reality of today, not some fantasy tomorrow you have to hope for. Es ahora, banda. No political party.
So there's this army ranger on leave out in my neck of the woods, and he decided he wanted to get himself a pair of alligator boots. But you know, we're talking a ranger here. He wasn't going to go to no shoe store. No, he gets himself a knife and heads out to the bayou to get him a gator and make some boots for himself. So he gets off the highway and heads back into the country and finds a little old bait shop near the edge of the swamp. He asks the man where he can find himself a gator, and the man gives him directions into the bayou.
This doesn't end with banjo music, does it?
Just let me tell the story, okay? Anyway, the guy at the bait shop says, "Look here, while you're out there, keep an eye out for these two Marines I sent in a couple days ago. They were after gator boots too, and they should have been back by now." Ranger says, he'll keep an eye out for him, and heads into the bayou. He follows the man's directions and heads way out into the swamp. When he gets to where he's going, sure enough, he sees these two Marines standing up to their waists in the water. Over on the shore nearby, there's like 20 dead gators in the mud. Now, as the ranger watches a gator swim up to the Marines, this jarhead jumps on the gator and kills it with his knife, drags it up on the shore, flips it over, and looks at the gator's feet. He said, "Damn it! This one ain't got on no boots either."
Bottom line to put the funds and the effort into helping the poor and in need? Of course not. The Lord said, "Inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, ye have done it unto me." Santa Blanca believes this, and as an agent of good, Santa Blanca knows that we can create the world that we all wish to live in. Giving works, and Santa Blanca gives to Bolivia.
Estás en Radio SB.
Radio Santa Blanca con DJ Perico. Oh, yeah.
¿Qué pasa, plebe? DJ Perico playing that music that makes your culito bounce up and down. But now, we're taking a break for a public service announcement. Do not betray Santa Blanca. You do not fuck with el sueño, wey. Here is a brief recording of what Jorge in Inca Camina has to say on the topic.
Por favor, mercy, mercy!
I will hear your confession. Perhaps then Santa Muerte will forgive you.
I don't know any... Ah! Dios mío! My foot! Give it back! Por favor! Listo! Listo, listo! It was me. I gave the Colombians a shipment of Super Coca. It was just one small shipment! Ah!
And there you have it, raza. Do not fuck with Santa Blanca. And now, an old favorite going out to Jorge. Be the 10th caller with the correct name of the song and win Jorge's gold watch.
There's an Air Force colonel and a Delta operator sitting next to each other on a flight out of King Khalid.
Is this the one where the Delta operator skins the Air Force colonel and wears him like a suit?
What? No, different story.
Oh, man, I love that one.
Anyway, they're both headed back home after a long deployment. The Delta guy's been out in the desert doing, Delta stuff, and he just wants to rack out for a while. But the Air Force colonel, he's on, his 8th espresso, and he's feeling chatty. So the colonel says, hey, you want to play a game to pass the time? It's a great game, you'll love it. Here's how it works. I ask you a question. If you can't answer it, you pay me $5. Then you get to ask me a question. If I can't answer it, I pay you $500. The Delta guy sighs and thinks it over. Go ahead, he says. The colonel grins, What's the distance between Earth and Neptune, he says. The Delta operator thinks a minute. Finally, he frowns and reaches into his pocket and hands over $5. The Air Force guy, he grins. He figures he's going to take this Delta guy for all he's worth. Your turn. The operator looks him in the eye. He says, what goes up a hill on 4 legs but comes down again on 3? Then he lowers his head and he goes back to sleep. The colonel thinks and thinks. He gets out his smartphone and scours the internet for answers, but he can't find it. He calls up his buddies back in Saudi and asks them for help, but they can't find the answer either. Finally, the colonel admits defeat, pulls out $500, wakes up the Delta guy, and hands the money over. The operator pockets the money without a word and closes his eyes again. But the colonel just can't let it go. He wakes the Delta guy up. He says, I gotta know. What goes up a hill on 4 legs but comes down again on 3? The Delta guy stares at the colonel for a second. Then he reaches in his pocket, hands the colonel $5, and goes back to sleep.
Esto es Ese Vato.
Radio Santa Blanca con DJ Perico.
¡Dale, vato loco!
DJ Perico, closing out a block of cumbias románticas. Ciao. Now I'm feeling all warm and fuzzy inside. Ay! That last duet made me think of those sick and twisted love puppies. Yuri, Polito. Most of you know the medically trained couple got started in Santa Blanca after they saved the life of our very own La Plaga. What many of you may not know is that soon after Yuri and Polito met at the hospital were love grand. So an Army Ranger, a Recon Marine, a SEAL, and a Delta operator are sitting around a campfire.
Here we go.
The Ranger, being a Ranger, starts bragging about how tough he is. "You think you guys are tough?" he says. "I parachuted behind enemy lines, done a 50-mile night march, and killed a dozen terrorists with my bare hands." The Recon Marine is like, "Man, that ain't shit. I've landed on a beach in the dark, marched 60 miles without stopping, and killed 50 terrorists with my bare hands."
Marines can talk? I call bullshit.
Anyway, the SEAL is like, "Bitch, please. I've swam 70 miles from a submarine, landed on a beach, marched 80 miles without stopping, and then strangled a whole damn terrorist camp with my bare hands." The SEAL gives them all this big shit-eating grin and turns to the Delta operator. "Top that," he says. The Delta guy doesn't say a word. He just shakes his head and keeps on stirring the coals of the fire with his dick.
Santa Blanca Radio con DJ Perico.
Hola, plebes! DJ Perico here, giving you advice from the man who has heard it all and seen a little bit. Things have been a little crazy around here the last couple of days. Santa Blanca even made the news in the States. And though that sounds cool for a criminal enterprise, it's not such a great thing. This could have been avoided if we had been looking out for each other. You may not have met him, but you all know Ricky Sandoval, the man at the king's right hand, the guy whispering in his ear, the guy handing down justice and shit. You might not know Ricky was acting a little crazy the last couple of months. It happens, right? Everybody gets a little high on their own supply. They get short-tempered and crazy strong. But when your homie likes the polvo too much, you gotta stop and get your amigo some help. If somebody had done that for Ricky, sat him down, talked to him, got to know him a little better, you might have figured out that the motherfucker was an undercover DEA agent. I mean, shit! You look out for your homie, you know if he's gonna roll on you. This next tune is for you, Ricky Sandoval. If they had marked your grave, I would piss on it.
You know, when I signed on for this op, I never imagined we'd be stealing vaccines and shutting down a relief agency.
For real. This NGO is some diabolical shit. Here we are trying to help these people, but it feels like we're the bad guys.
Don't lose sight of the fact that the only reason the cartel is doing this is because they're using the locals for their own ends.
What's the alternative? We let these people starve? They've got nothing, man. And the government isn't going to step in. You and I both know that.
I hear you, but if we do nothing, the cartel's going to use these people as soldiers, farmers, and mules. Santa Blanca's going to work them like dogs and then spread more misery across the U.S. and South America. What I'm saying is that there is no easy answer. If there were, the cartel wouldn't have gotten this powerful in the first place.